There's a long history of trying to envision what the politics of a good society might look like, but there are many views on the left that are sort of skeptical of this project. One view says, well, once we abolish classes, because all politics is just a reflection of class struggle, there's no more political struggle, and therefore politics becomes irrelevant. There's that line from Engels where he says that politics will become the administration of things rather than the administration of people, as though you could administer things, you could give out resources without that affecting people. It seems to me that in any society, no matter how much you've changed the fundamentals of it, there are going to be political debates. There's going to have to be decision making, and therefore we need some kind of institutions to be able to address those. So what are the usual kinds of options that people propose for making political decisions? Well, one of them is representative democracy. Okay, and that's something that's talked about with all its, we don't have even a pure representative democracy now because we've got, rule by money and so on and so forth. But imagine that money wasn't the issue because you had, in fact, addressed a lot of the economic issues. Would you want representative democracy as your political institutions? Well, there are two problems with representative democracy, even once you've settled those economic questions. One of them is that representative democracy treats politics as instrumental. That is, the purpose of politics is to arrive at decisions, period, full stop. Okay? That is indeed a major part of what politics is about. But the other part of what politics is about is the effect it has on us, helping us reach our understanding of how we can achieve our best life. Okay? And in other words, politics isn't just something we come in, we're already created, and then we make our decisions. No, the act of participating in politics helps create us. Okay? In other words, we are constituted by politics as well as our decisions. And therefore, what politics requires is a greater degree of participation than a representative system allows us. What representative government means is we elect people who will do the politics. And therefore, that important role that politics is supposed to play on us doesn't take place. The second problem with politics, with representative government, is that representatives often don't represent us. And this is so for a number of reasons. Again, not just because of money, but consider in the United States your congressional representative represents about 600,000 people. Okay? So they can't possibly know you, and you can't possibly have any kind of face-to-face contact with them unless you happen to be a millionaire and you buy access. But in general, the connection between constituent and representative is very, very much attenuated. In addition, representatives don't do what they say they're going to do. You elect them because they say, as Lyndon Johnson said, no wider war, or as Barack Obama said, change we can believe in, and you get a wider war and you don't see much change. Okay? But this is the nature of the thing, that is, people say one thing to get elected and then do other things once they're in office. Now you might say, well, there's a simple solution to this. Why don't we just mandate representatives, that is, require them to do exactly what they promised to do during the campaign? Well, there's a problem with this, and the problem is situations change. When Franklin Roosevelt said, I will keep you out of war, well, then Pearl Harbor happened, and some would say, no, we still shouldn't have gone into the war, but some would say, well, hey, the situation has changed. And you don't want to lock yourself into, we must do what was promised 6 months ago in some campaign. On the other hand, you might say, okay, so here's a different way to do it. Why don't we require politicians to carry out all promises they made, under pain of jail sentence or whatever, unless public opinion polls say that the population has changed their view. So essentially, representatives won't be committed to what they said. They'll be committed to what public opinion polls say they ought to hold as their position. But then the point is, you don't need a representative anymore, because the representative can just be replaced by a little laptop that shows the latest Gallup poll results, and that's its vote, that's its decision. Okay? Now, I'll talk about whether that might in fact be a good thing to do, just replace them in that kind of mechanical way. In addition, when you elect a representative, you elect someone who has 27 different positions, and you chose this representative rather than that one who has 27 different positions, but you agreed with this one on 20 and this one on 7, so you're not getting a representative who represents you. You're getting a representative who's the sort of best fit from the available candidates of your views on a whole range of questions, and so that's going to be a very imperfect fit with your actual views. So for all those reasons, representatives don't actually represent. And therefore, that's a serious defect in any kind of rule by the people. But there are two important truths that representative democracy stands for. One is that the job of governing takes time, and people don't have infinite time. There was talk at earlier panels about how one of the things that has so much taken away from our social and political life is that people are putting in more and more hours at work and things they need to do, and therefore don't have time to think about politics. If you had to spend hours and hours at meetings to decide every single thing about your life, and you had to make every decision that affects you, I mean, think a legislator, and you've got legislators who affect you at local and state and national levels. If you take all the decisions they made over the course of the year and you had to research all those on your own, it would obviously take a lot of time, more time than most of us have, and few of us have that inclination. Yes, there are political fanatics, and this left forum might have a large fraction of people who are political fanatics, but we can't expect a society to exist where everyone is a political fanatic. The second important truth about that the representative democracy position takes is, well, Cindy called it a dialogic process. I would call it a deliberative process. That is, it's not simply a question of here's position 1, here's position 2, everybody cast your vote, and then we have a decision. Okay? What you want to do is you want different positions to come together and deliberate and try to find solutions that will maximize people's happiness and maybe bring sides together in various ways. Sometimes you won't be able to. Sometimes you'll just have to vote something down. But you want as much as possible to make politics a deliberative process rather than simply one of yes and no votes. In a representative body, representatives can have that kind of deliberation. If everybody is just sort of voting on issues on their laptop, you can't do that deliberation.